At the age of 78, Barry Gibb finally opened his heart and revealed the truth about his younger brother, Andy Gibb, a story overflowing with love, heartbreak, and an unshakable bond that stretched far beyond music. For years, Barry has carried the legacy of the legendary Bee Gees as their last surviving member, bearing not only the weight of international fame, but also the heavy sorrow of losing his brothers, who were also his closest companions. Andy's name has come to represent both brilliance and tragedy, a bittersweet reminder of all that was achieved and all that might have been. Whenever Barry speaks about Andy, his tone softens. It's filled with admiration, pride, and a deep sadness that time could never erase. To truly understand Barry and Andy's connection, one must look back at Barry's extraordinary journey. From his humble beginnings to the rise of the Bee Gees, the global triumphs that changed music history, and the personal losses that shaped the man he became. Barry Gibb's story is not just one of fame and fortune. It is also about resilience, loyalty, and the eternal strength of family ties. Born Barry Allen Crompton Gibb on September 1, 1946 in Douglas on the Isle of Man, he was the second of 5 children of Hugh and Barbara Gibb. In the Gibb household, music was like air. It surrounded everything. From an early age, Barry showed a remarkable gift for melody and rhythm. Encouraged by his parents, both he and his brothers, Robin, Maurice, and later the youngest, Andy, nurtured their talents together. What began as a family pastime would evolve into one of the most celebrated musical dynasties in history. During the 1950s, the Gibb family moved from the Isle of Man to Manchester, England, and later made a daring relocation to Redcliffe, Australia. In the quiet suburbs of Brisbane, the Gibb brothers began performing at small community events and local clubs. They called themselves the Bee Gees, a name born from the initials of brothers Gibb. Their early performances were humble, but their chemistry was undeniable, and the spark of something extraordinary had begun. Barry's natural leadership and instinct for harmony quickly became the group's foundation. In Australia, the Bee Gees gained a modest following, but their decision to return to England in the mid-1960s would change their lives forever. Their big break came in 1967 with the haunting ballad New York Mining Disaster 1941, a song that immediately drew comparisons to the Beatles. Practically overnight, the Bee Gees went from being a talented family group to international sensations. Their success only grew as the decade went on, with Barry's distinctive falsetto and songwriting genius becoming their signature sound. Songs like To Love Somebody in Massachusetts displayed their unmatched ability to blend emotion, harmony, and storytelling. But it was the 1970s that truly transformed the Bee Gees into cultural icons. By the mid-decade, they had become the faces of the disco era, largely due to their unforgettable contributions to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Global hits such as Stayin Alive and Night Fever didn't just top charts, they defined an entire generation. Barry's creative direction was the driving force behind their evolution, taking the Bee Gees from pop sensations to musical legends whose influence stretched far beyond their time. Barry Gibb's genius extended well beyond performing. As the group's primary songwriter and producer, he composed and co-wrote over 1,000 songs, making him one of the most prolific figures in the history of popular music. The Bee Gees' domination during the disco era was unprecedented. Saturday Night Fever alone sold more than 40 million copies worldwide. But Barry's influence didn't stop with the Bee Gees. He wrote and produced hits for legends like Barbra Streisand, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Diana Ross, and Dionne Warwick, effortlessly moving between genres from pop and country to R&B and adult contemporary. His falsetto became one of the most recognizable voices in music, and his lyrics captured stories that resonated deeply across generations. In recognition of his immense contributions, Barry was inducted into both the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He earned multiple Grammy Awards and the admiration of millions around the world. His dedication, versatility, and emotional authenticity made him a model for countless artists who followed in his footsteps. Yet, behind all the fame and accolades, Barry endured a lifetime of heartbreak. The Beegs were never just a band. They were brothers united by music and love, but fate dealt them unimaginable pain. Maurice passed away in 2003, Robin in 2012, and Andy, the youngest and most fragile of the brothers, tragically died in 1988. Andy's passing left a scar that never truly healed. Despite his short career, Andy had reached stardom with hits like Shadow Dancing and I Just Want to Be Your Everything. However, behind his success, he struggled with inner demons, battles with depression and substance abuse that ultimately claimed his life at just 30 years old. Bry has often spoken about the immense pain of losing Andy, admitting in interviews that it was like losing a part of himself. "I lost my best friend," he once said, with a sadness that words could barely contain. To lose one brother is devastating, but to lose all three left Barry standing alone as the last Gibb. Still, rather than let grief consume him, he chose to channel that pain into love and remembrance. He continues to honor their memories by keeping their music alive, ensuring that the spirit of the Bees never fades. Today, Barry Gibb stands not only as one of the most successful and influential musicians of all time, but also as a symbol of strength and endurance. His journey, marked by joy, loss, and unshakable devotion to family, reminds the world that behind every legend is a human story of resilience. Away from the lights in the stage, Barry's life tells another tale, one of love, legacy, and the eternal bond between brothers whose harmonies change the sound of music forever. Barry Gibb's life story is one woven with love, resilience, and an enduring passion for music. His first marriage to Maureen Bates in 1966 was brief, ending in divorce by 1970. But destiny had other plans for him. During a taping of Top of the Pops, Barry met Linda Gray, a stunning former Miss Edinburgh. Their meeting wasn't just a coincidence. It was the spark that ignited one of the most enduring love stories in entertainment history. On Barry's 24th birthday, September 1st, 1970, the two were married, beginning a union that has now spanned over 5 decades. Together, Barry and Linda built a beautiful life and raised 5 children: Stephen, Ashley, Travis, Michael, and Alexandra. For Barry, family has always been his anchor, a grounding force that kept him steady through fame, heartbreak, and the relentless pace of stardom. Their eldest son, Stephen, followed in his father's footsteps, pursuing a music career of his own and exploring the realms of rock and heavy metal. Barry has often said that Linda and their children gave his life purpose beyond the stage, reminding him what truly matters. Today, the Gibb family continues to grow with 7 grandchildren bringing joy and laughter into their lives. Beyond his family, Barry's personal circle included friendships with some of the biggest names in the industry. Among them, Michael Jackson, who even lived with the Gibbs for a period in Miami. Despite the chaos that fame often brings, Barry and Linda cultivated a home filled with warmth, love, and stability, proving that even in the world of celebrity, lasting happiness is possible. As time passed, Barry's influence in music never faded. His unmistakable falsetto voice became a bridge between generations, captivating both old and new audiences alike. Young fans discovered the Bees through films, streaming platforms, and documentaries, while longtime admirers cherished every chance to see him perform again. In 2006, Barry made headlines when he purchased the Tennessee estate once owned by Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash, an act that beautifully tied his story to America's rich musical heritage. Years later in 2009, Barry and Linda became U.S. citizens, marking a symbolic milestone in the country that had shaped much of his adult life. Tributes to Barry's artistry have continued to pour in from musicians across the globe, with many studying his songwriting as a masterclass in melody and emotion. In his later years, Barry's journey reflected more than just the survival of a legend. It embodied the wisdom of a man who has weathered both triumph and tragedy. His life serves as proof that true artistry never fades. It evolves, inspiring new generations long after the first note is played. From his humble beginnings on the Isle of Man to becoming the creative force behind one of the world's greatest bands, Barry Gibb's contribution to music is immeasurable. His falsetto redefined pop, his lyrics became timeless anthems, and his songs transcended cultural and generational boundaries. Yet beyond the fame lies a deeper story. The story of a brother who endured unimaginable loss, a husband who built a lasting love, and a father who found joy in his family. When Barry speaks of his late brother Andy, it's always with tenderness and admiration. He has never shied away from expressing his grief, but chooses to honor Andy's memory by celebrating his life and talent. For Barry, that love represents something universal. That memory and affection outlast even death itself. As the last surviving Gibb brother, Barry now carries not just his own legacy, but that of Robin, Maurice, and Andy as well, ensuring that the Bee Gees will never be forgotten. His story is living proof that while fame may dim with time, true music, true love, and true family endure forever. While the Bee Gees will always remain the centerpiece of his career, Barry's musical talents extended far beyond the group. Over the years, he explored a remarkable solo journey that allowed him to experiment with new sounds and express his personal vision. His solo albums, though fewer, were filled with emotional depth and artistic craftsmanship, each song reflecting his experiences, memories, and continued growth. He also became one of the most sought-after collaborators in the music world, working alongside legendary artists like Diana Ross, Barbra Streisand, Dolly Parton, and Kenny Rogers. Barry possessed a rare ability to shape his songwriting to complement diverse voices and genres, showing a selfless devotion to the art of collaboration. One of the most notable creative partnerships in Barry's life was with Michael Jackson. Their sessions in the Miami studio were a blend of experimentation and friendship, Barry mentoring Jackson in harmonies and vocal layering while learning from Michael's unmatched sense of rhythm and performance. These collaborations not only produced unforgettable songs, but also highlighted Barry's generosity as a musician and mentor. His willingness to share his wisdom and nurture others' talent further solidified his legacy as one of the true innovators of modern music. Behind the fame and flashing lights, Barry's personal life was filled with intimate and touching moments that reveal the man behind the legend. Hefton recalled the days spent in the studio with his brothers, long hours of writing, experimenting, and perfecting their harmonies until every note resonated flawlessly. Maurice, Robin, and Barry's chemistry was electric. Their creative synergy was something few could replicate. Barry, ever the guiding force, often stepped back to let his brothers shine, ensuring that the group's magic came from unity rather than ego. His bond with Andy, though bittersweet, was equally strong. Even as Andy battled his personal struggles, Barry stood by him, offering support, laughter, and guidance through every storm. The Gibb household itself was a lively hub of music, creativity, and friendship. It wasn't uncommon for the family's Miami home to be filled with musicians, producers, and friends, turning late-night jam sessions into unforgettable memories. These stories reveal Barry's deeply human side, a man who cherished love, family, and artistry above all else. Beyond the realm of music, Barry's generosity extended to philanthropy and humanitarian causes. Over the years, he contributed to countless charitable efforts, supporting everything from disaster relief to music education programs. Barry understood that music held the power to heal and unite, and he worked tirelessly to provide instruments, training, and opportunities to aspiring young artists. Through these efforts, he ensured that the same creative flame that guided his life would continue to inspire others. Barry's songs themselves became instruments of compassion and unity. Timeless ballads like "How Deep Is Your Love" and "To Love Somebody" carry universal messages of empathy and emotional connection. Through both his music and his actions, Barry reminded the world that real success lies not only in personal achievement, but also in uplifting others and leaving behind a legacy of kindness. Life in the spotlight, however, has never been simple. Barry experienced the full intensity of fame, from early comparisons to the Beatles to the global hysteria of Saturday Night Fever. Yet he handled the spotlight with remarkable grace and humility. Even as the media sometimes distorted his personal life, especially during his brother's struggles, Barry remained poised, never losing sight of what truly mattered. Fame, he realized, was a tool to share his art, not a measure of his worth. As Barry entered his 70s, he became more reflective, focusing on health, balance, and gratitude. Despite the demands of touring and recording, he maintained his vitality through discipline, rest, and mindfulness. The lessons life taught him, resilience, love, and empathy, became central to his philosophy. The pain of losing his brothers taught him patience. The joy of watching his family grow taught him contentment. Today, Barry Gibb continues to create and inspire. His journey is not only the story of a musical icon, but of a man who learned to find beauty in both success and sorrow. His legacy reminds the world that true greatness doesn't just come from fame. It comes from heart, endurance, and the unwavering power of love and music.